You ever had someone mess with you and think they could just walk away? I'm talking about that kind of smug disrespect that burns in your gut for days, the kind that makes you need to get even. Well, I got even, and I did it in the most 2000s internet way possible. This is a story of how one punk teenager egged my house and ended up expelled, grounded, and exposed, all thanks to his own MySpace page. If you've ever been wronged and wish you could serve up sweet, poetic justice, hit that like button and subscribe, because this is a kind of revenge that feels righteous. Back then, I lived right across the street from the local high school. Every day at lunchtime, a wave of students poured out of the school gates, loud, laughing, and totally oblivious, cutting straight across my front lawn like it was their personal shortcut to the strip mall. At first, I didn't say anything. You know, pick your battles, right? I told myself they were just kids, and it wasn't worth the headache. But every day, my grass looked worse. Patchy, muddy, torn up like a marching band had gone through. I'd look out the window and just seethe, wondering why basic respect was such a foreign concept. Then one afternoon, I pulled into my driveway just as the daily stampede was starting. And that's when I saw him. A kid, maybe 15 or 16, standing in the middle of my lawn, jabbing a stick into the dirt, not poking around, not just being dumb, digging holes, deep ones. The sound of the stick crunching into the soil made something inside me snap. I rolled down my window. "Hey, cut it out. Get off my lawn." He looked up, tall, stringy hair hanging in his face, that look of teenage defiance plastered all over him. "Relax, man," he said, smirking. "It's just grass." That smug tone, like he was daring me to do something. I could feel my pulse thumping in my neck. "Yeah, well, it's my grass. So take your stick and get the hell off my property." He scoffed, spun the stick in his hand like it was a sword, and muttered something under his breath. I think it was "old man." I was only in my 30s at the time, but sure, whatever helps him feel cool. We had a short back and forth, the kind where both sides know it's going nowhere, and eventually, he wandered off with a few of his buddies, laughing. I brushed it off, figured it was done. I was wrong. Eggshells and disrespect. A few nights later, I woke up to a thud. Then another. Then another. It took me a second to register the sound, dull impacts, wet splats. I pulled back the curtain and saw it. The glow of headlights vanishing down the street and something sliding down my car windshield. Eggs. They'd egged my house and my truck. Now, it was raining, so thankfully most of it washed off. No real damage. Just some shells on the driveway. But that wasn't the point. This wasn't random. This was personal. I could still see that smirk on the kid's face in my mind. The arrogance. The total lack of respect. And suddenly, the mild annoyance I felt turned into something else entirely. It wasn't about the eggs. It was about being disrespected in my own home. I knew it was him. No question. And that night, as I stood there under the rain light, watching the last bits of yolk wash into the gutter, I made a silent promise to myself. You picked the wrong guy, kid. The digital hunt. This was back in the glory days of MySpace. Everyone under 25 had a page, and 90% of them were completely public. If you were a teenager, your whole personality was on display. Music playlists, moody selfies, terrible backgrounds, and way too much personal information. And that's when it hit me. If this kid was dumb enough to egg my house, he was probably dumb enough to post everything online. So I started my search. I didn't know his name, but I remembered the look. Long hair, baggy clothes, those rave-style bracelets. The kind of kid who probably thought glow sticks were a personality trait. I started with local profiles, searched through the pages of high school students nearby, filtering by the ones who looked like they might belong to his crowd. It was slow work. Dozens of pages, one after another. But eventually, I found him. And when I clicked on his profile jackpot, the dirt, his page was a gold mine of bad decisions. There he was, picture after picture, smoking weed, drinking straight from a vodka bottle in a car, bragging in the comment about selling green and white to his friends. And the best part? He wasn't even trying to hide it. There was even a public thread where he was setting up what looked like a drug deal. And in that thread, he'd given out his home phone number. I stared at that number for a long moment. Then an idea started forming. Something perfectly poetic. I copied it, went to a reverse lookup site, and for $15, $15, I had his full name and his parents' home address. Now, I could have just called him, but that felt too easy. Too forgettable. No, I wanted this to stick. So I got to work. The package. I spent the next evening like a detective building a case file. I printed every incriminating photo from his page, the weed, the vodka, the shady conversations. Then I added a helpful glossary I made myself, explaining each slang term and acronym he used, just in case the adults in his life needed context. Then I put together 3 identical envelopes, one for his parents, one for the school principal, and one for the school resource officer, the campus cop. Each one had a cover letter that simply said, "Concerned community member, thought you should know what this student has been up to online." No name, no return address, just the evidence. I remember sliding those envelopes into the mailbox with the biggest grin on my face. It wasn't just revenge, it was justice. Calculated, clean, perfectly executed. And the best part? He'd handed me all the ammunition himself. The fallout, a few days passed, then a week. I'll admit, I started to wonder if anything would come of it. Maybe his parents ignored it. Maybe the school didn't care. Then, one evening, I decided to check his MySpace again. And there it was, a brand new post. His tone was furious. Panicked. Some asshole printed out my MySpace and sent it to my parents and the principal. I got expelled and grounded for the rest of the year. I laughed so hard, I almost fell out of my chair. I could picture it. The confrontation, his parents holding those printed photos, the principal shaking their head in disappointment, all because he thought he could egg someone's house and walk away. Justice served. In the end, there was no damage to my property, no police involved, no shouting match. Just a quiet, satisfying knowledge that the kid who thought he was untouchable had finally faced consequences. Not for the eggs, but for everything else. And you know what? I didn't feel guilty. Not even a little. Because this wasn't about revenge for a few eggs. It was about teaching a punk that actions, especially stupid ones you post online, have consequences. I don't know what happened to him after that. Maybe he turned his life around. Maybe that was his wake-up call. Honestly, I hope it was. Because every now and then, when I think back to that night under the rain, watching eggs slide off my windshield, I still smile and whisper, haha, fuck you, Dan. You know, people talk about karma like it's some cosmic force, something that takes years to balance out.